Welcome, everybody, to the Spiritual Sanctuary. My name is Bertina, and I'm your host today. And I have someone very special here with me today, Kim Parkinson of Spiritual Podcasting for Women podcast. Well, I just messed that up, but that's okay. She is really the one who I wanted to share with everyone about how awesome she is. She has gotten me into podcasting and she has given me the courage to kind of step out because everyone knows that I love to talk, but then when I get on here, I'm a little nervous. So, what I wanted to do is kind of introduce her to all of you spiritual women out there so that you can see that your voice needs to be heard. So, Kim, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the work you do?
Oh, thank you so much, Bertina. Yes. So again, my name is Kim Parkinson and I own KP Creative Media. And that is a podcast production agency, but I am a certified podcast growth strategist, growth coach, whatever you want to call me. That's what I am.
Yeah.
I also am host of Podcasting for Your Spiritual Business. And there's a specific reason why I named it that. And that's keywords because they're so important. So that's part of that. Also, I help spiritual women, and that is anywhere from priestesses, light healers, astrologers to women that are ministers and pastors. And then I actually have an entire section of my business where I help architects, engineers, and construction
What?
firms. I know.
How does that work?
It's not in the spiritual realm, but what I'm getting
Wow.
at is that my podcast is not just for spiritual women. The
Okay.
spiritual business part of it is what keeps me in that category at like a very high number for being found. But also, all of my tips and tricks on the podcast and in life, while I have the woo side to me, they apply to any kind of business. They apply to any kind of podcast. So I'm just here to help women be heard because we all have
Thank
a
you.
voice and we all need to get that out to the world. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what brought me to you was listening to your voice, and as calming and as welcoming as you are, your voice just drew me in. And then once I got to know you personally, I am like, she is really someone who, when you do, and I hate even using the word hire you. I mean, it is hiring for a service, but I feel like I get a lot more than that. I get someone who I can say, "Hey, I just really messed this up. Can you just give me an idea, direct me this direction, or what do I do about this, or what do I do about that?" And I have signed up for a lot of memberships and a lot of lessons, and most of the time in the past, I get just a video from someone or just standard lessons, but you really tailor all of your membership services to the person. So, like when I first started speaking with you, I'd started a podcast, but I didn't know what to do. And you were telling me about SEO and keywords, search engine optimization, and keywords and everything else. And I knew about that from a long time ago, but I didn't know how it related to podcasting. So, can you give us like maybe a tip or a trick on just one simple thing that we can do to get our podcast or our voice heard?
Yeah. Yeah. So if you have a podcast and it is called The Amanda Show, what are you talking about on that podcast?
Mhm.
Because that doesn't tell me anything. So if somebody goes to a podcast player such as Apple, Spotify, or any of the other, like there's, I think, 100 of them out there, and they are typing in what you are talking about, you want your show to show up. Right. So I am helping women with a spiritual business. So when you go into Apple and you type in spiritual business, my podcast is actually one of the first, usually
Wow.
1 to 6 that shows up. So I'm happy. I'm in the top 10 there. So
Yeah.
I really am super. it's super important. I'm in that corner where I really feel because I'm living it. So I know it works. And what we try to do is make sure that you have the keywords in your title of your podcast. Now, you can call your podcast The Amanda Show, but in the hosting platform, add in those keywords to be found. You never have to say those keywords. And my podcast, if you look it up right now, the cover art says something totally different. It says podcasting for spiritual women. I think it still says.
Yep,
It's
that's
okay.
right.
Uh,
Yep.
my 1 year anniversary is coming up soon, and it's going to get changed, but it's on the back burner. It's in the Asana board. It's on the back burner.
I love this.
So
Okay.
what we're going to do is we go by whatever your keywords are, and again, it only has to be in the hosting platform. You never have to say them on the show. It's
Oh,
just to be found. Yeah.
okay. I know we get kind of stuck with our name because it's like, see me on this podcast. It's and go here. And sometimes the little crawly bots just don't pick it up unless what you were saying there. And do you feel like that the keywords and the SEO really is where women or where podcasts get stuck and not seen because we may not know that. We may not know how to find those keywords or things like that?
Oh, definitely. Absolutely. I feel like that is one of the things where we really kind of end up falling down flat because
Okay.
we love our businesses so much. We love what we do so much. So we name
Yeah.
it whatever is kind of kitschy or fun or whatever.
Yeah.
And while, we would all love to be Mel Robbins of the world, we're not. And
Yeah.
so if you want more people to hear you, more people to find your podcast and then know you, love you, you become the authority, you need to meet them where they're asking.
Okay.
So,
Sounds perfect. You mentioned earlier about how women struggle to find our voices. Why do you think it's so hard for women to speak or put themselves out there or even promote themselves? I mean, it seems like it's just one step after the other. Maybe the first time you just go out and you speak, do you feel like it's easier once they take the first step? But why do you think that we struggle so much?
we're nurturers, we're moms. We love to help others. And so it's so much easier for us to say, I'm going to start a podcast and hey, I want to interview everybody. Everybody come on my show because I want to support you. I want to support you. I want to tell everybody about you. But then you have a really exciting hobby or a really expensive hobby, depending on how much you paid on it. And then you are just advertising other people the entire time. So,
Mm,
what I try to do is I try to kind of reflect on that and show you how the more you do solo episodes, the more you share with your audience what it is that you do and how you do it and how you would help them with it. That is then going to be in their brain as, wow, she's an authority figure on that. She really knows her stuff on that. And you're advertising yourself. You're talking about yourself. And realistically, you're still helping somebody else out there.
yeah.
So do it. Let's do it. I think it's just a mind twist, right?
Okay.
We're really
Yeah.
all about like, I want to help somebody else. I want to help somebody else. Well, you can help somebody else by helping yourself first, right? Isn't that what we say? Put
Right.
the airlines always like put the mask on yourself first before put it on the
Yeah.
kid. Yeah, you
Yeah.
have to. You have to fill your own cup up first.
That's true. And then it takes me back to thinking about when in our society we used to sit around and tell stories, and those stories were things that helped heal people, but also help pass down information, help connection, and everything else. And many women may not feel like their story is important, but it really is. Is
Yeah.
there just a little hint that you can give us on just putting it out that first time, or do we just do it, take the band-aid off, and just kind of
The
go?
first one's always going to be the hardest. It doesn't matter. What I tell people is come up with like 8 to 10 episodes that you think that you can talk about on your own. You don't need anybody else. This is an on your own situation here, right?
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I want you to come up with 8 to 10 episodes. Here's the thing, you'll probably get to, maybe you'll get to eight, maybe you'll get lucky and you'll get to eight, but you'll probably get to like maybe five. And then you'll be like, oh, a client just asked me this question. This is a great, I'm going to do an episode on this. Or, oh my gosh, I just did this and somebody asked me about that. I'm going to do an episode on that. And so you veer off. When I sat down and I wrote out 52 ideas of different podcast episodes that I wanted to talk about. I got to episode 8, and then I still have 42 more episode ideas in a bank somewhere
There we go.
that I
There we
haven't
go.
gotten to. Yeah.
Well, I do that a lot. Like on Sunday, we had our in-person sanctuary meeting, and someone asked a question about the difference between religion and spirituality. And that's a podcast that's coming out tomorrow, just talking about things. And I find that most women will say, "Oh, I don't know much. I don't know what to talk about." But when we start actually just talking and then laughing and being authentic, that's going to pull people in. And especially if it's something you're passionate about, and you don't have to be like the perfect expert. You're an expert in your experience of it. And I think that that's what causes a lot of women to be scared because they're like, "Oh, I'm not an expert on angels or I'm not an expert on tarot." But you really are. You're expert in your world and your experience. And people who have or wished or desire to have that experience with you or even resonate with what you say will be the ones drawn to you. And I think a lot of people put more emphasis on numbers and followers. What do you think about that? Is it more connection or more followers, or what should we really be focusing on there?
So I'm going to tell you that this is where I shine because I have, for the same reason that spiritual women love me, is the same reason of this. I have one step in the spiritual realm and one step in the tech realm. So I have
Okay.
one step in the numbers for your podcast stats because you have to know what is working. And then I have
Okay.
one step in that you just have to go with the flow, right? And so here's the thing, you really do need to know what your stats are if you want to know what your audience is resonating with, what more
Okay.
content you should be bringing, things like that. And that is so hard for a podcaster. They just want to go to like their stats on their board and be like, oh, yeah, look at that one looks great. But you know what? Does it look great 30 days from now? Does it look great in another
Oh,
60, 90, or going on? Is it still growing after 180 days? What's happening there? And they're always like, I don't want to keep track of that. But, just today I had some office hours and one of my clients showed up and she said, can we just look at my stats? And I said, sure. We went back to episode 46. She's a little bit further ahead, but 30 days ago was episode 46. We added up her stats from her Buzzsprout and from her YouTube, and she hit over 100 downloads. I was like,
oh, wow.
congratulations. But she had
Yeah.
no idea because she wasn't keeping track. But meanwhile, I've been like kind of keeping track on my own over
Keep
here.
in
So
track. Yeah. That's
yeah.
perfect. Well, okay, so that goes into another question that I had. Your business decisions and your creative process, how much do we rely upon our intuition with that?
100%. Oh my gosh, I
Okay.
think it's 100% for me.
Okay.
So I think, well, actually, I'm a Scorpio because we're not too
Yeah,
far
we
apart
both
there.
are. Yep.
And I'm a 5-1 human design projector. So a lot of what I do is intuitive. A lot of what I do is, even this morning, I had a call with somebody, didn't have any idea what we were going to talk about. And we got on the call. I knew I had one question for her. That was it. One question. And she answered it. What I thought she was going to answer, she didn't. She went in a different direction. And so immediately you have to like pivot and you have to be like, okay, well, now that this has happened, let's go this direction. Let's do this, this, and this. And so it's knowing your stuff and it's also knowing it inside to get it out. You have
Okay.
to, and I think that's the intuitive part, right? You have to be intuitive about it in order for your throat chakra to open and for you to be able to speak it, speak it
Yeah,
out loud.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the fact that you connect the divine feminine and spirituality and business together. And I know probably spiritual women are probably the most likely to avoid business and organization. Is that true? I tend
Yes.
to love it, but I work with a lot of clients as well too. And the structure, they just, you know, I think you were the one that told me that in January, everyone gets on a podcast bandwagon, and then by February or March, it starts just going down is it because of the structure? Is it something that we just fight with ourselves or what?
I
What do you
think
think?
it's the consistency. I find that so here's the thing about any business, but a lot of times with the spiritual people or people that are brand new to business, right? So, and this could be the same person too. What will happen is you're like, I'm gung ho, I'm going to talk, I'm going to do this podcast, and so you do an episode, you do two, three, four, eight is like the magic number where people start to pod fade, right? They don't go beyond
Oh,
eight. That's the number. So what ends up happening is they're like, oh, you know what? I'm on episode eight and I'm only getting 8 downloads per episode. That sucks. I don't want to continue because only 8 people are listening. So, yes, that does happen. Is there ways to get more? Yes, there are. You just need to know those, right? But also, can I just mention if you were in a room and there were 8 strangers in that room listening to you, would that still excite you and light you up?
yeah,
Because it would still excite me and light me up. I mean, I know it's only 8 and I totally get that, but at the same time, like that's 8 new people. Okay, maybe one of
exactly.
them is you, but still 7 new
But still,
people.
yeah, I like that. I do. And that goes into the idea of having smaller numbers, but then being able to convert them to clients or to whatever our goal is, and without burning ourselves out. Because you mentioned that we get on this way of doing one, two, three, four, five podcasts, but then we stop. Podcasting is fun at first. It's fun always, but it's a lot of work.
Mhm.
So, what advice do you have for someone so that they don't burn themselves out with it? How is a good way to pace? I know you always talk about, oh, what is the word?
I
Oh,
think
I
you're
feel really bad here. Um,
it
keep
batch.
batching. There, you knew what I was saying. I'm like, I am the worst one about not doing that, but I
That's
can see why because this situation I've had between different jobs the last couple of weeks, I'm glad I did have just one or two kind of put back to kind of help. But can you speak on that just a little bit on how to keep
yeah.
being burnout but stay on track too?
Yeah. So here's a couple of tips actually. One is you do not have to have an hour-long episode. Please don't think you have to have an
Okay.
hour-long episode. If you have an interview and it goes like 45 minutes to an hour, that's one thing. But if you're just
Mhm.
doing a solo episode, one topic, one call to action, 15 minutes, give or take 5 on the both ends, by the way. You can deliver a really excellent episode at 10 minutes and you can
Yeah.
deliver a really excellent episode at 25. So there's that, right?
Yeah.
Just make sure that it has the value and that you're only keeping it to the one topic. So, knowing that, then can you record if you give yourself like a couple of hours on a Saturday morning if that's what you want to do. I don't typically always do it on a Saturday morning, but if you want to give yourself a couple of hours on a Saturday morning, could you do 2 or 3 of them at a time
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
batch those? And then if you have batched them, then if you haven't launched yet and you have batched, my suggestion is always to start your podcast with 3 episodes right away,
Okay.
then schedule it out so that you have maybe 4, 5, and 6. Then you're 6 episodes ahead.
Yeah,
Hello.
that is
Now,
true.
now, now it's like, okay, after you've got 6 episodes of solos, go find yourself somebody to interview. Then, or if you don't do an interview, what I also love to do is coaching calls. I've done those before.
That's
Those are where you coach somebody through one of your modalities or one of your offers. And basically, usually it's like almost like a discovery call on steroids, and you
Okay.
record it with their blessing. And then another one is case studies. We've done a case study before where I interviewed you, and then you're on my podcast as a case study. So we talk about you, your podcast, your everything. And then in that one, we particularly went into your priestess and your books because I was fascinated. and then asked how how you felt about working with me. So that's like a case study. And
Yeah.
yeah, and I actually have an entire workshop that I do like every other month where I go over four different types of topics that you can talk about. And usually when somebody comes into that workshop, it is an hour long workshop, but it's called 4 and 40 because I give you time in between. So if you broke it
Yeah.
down, it would be 40 minutes. And usually they come up with like 24 topics that they could talk about, which
Yeah.
believe me, that's crazy for 24 topics. Like
Yeah.
that's the average. That's the medium average. Like, some people, like somebody said the other day, I think I have 29. I'm like, great. That's great. Now go forth
Let's go.
and talk.
Go for it. Yeah, and you led right into what I was going to ask you next. Or what are all the services that you offer? Like if someone has never done a podcast, how can they get in touch with you to see if it's something they want to do? Is there a way for them to have you as a podcast coach like I have? Is there anything? Can you just tell us about your services for a little bit and how we can get in
Yeah,
touch?
yeah. I'd love to. So thank you. And so first of all, if you're interested in starting a podcast or you have a podcast and you either aren't growing or you need a rebrand or something like that, we usually start with a strategy session. My strategy sessions are typically $197, and you get about an hour and a half of my time on air, like through Zoom. And then you also get me either in Voxer, which is my number one program, or a DMs of some kind. So I am on Facebook, and then I also like occasionally have people that will text me. So was that? So you get that time, a week of my time for that, and then if you decide, yes, I want to continue with whatever that might be after the strategy session, then I have podcast launch programs. So I have three different programs done for you, done with you, and done on your own, but with my guidance. And then after the launch, I do have production if you wanted to go into that, or if you just want to stay away from that, which is fine too, because I know you don't do any, you just go live with it right after, which I'm fine with that too. Then I do have a podcast growth accelerator, which is my monthly membership, and that's $57 a month. And then I also have some podcast coaching that I do. And so that is based on how much you need. Some people need every week, some people need every other week, and they're usually in 3-month containers. And they're a little bit more pricey because I dive a little bit deeper. But
Yeah.
that's to kind of give you a start. And then if they don't find something in between all of that, just reach out to me and I can help you somehow.
Yeah, exactly. I'll tell you that strategy call. I was giving up. I started the podcast during COVID and I did the same thing. Oh, I'm not getting anything. So I stopped. And then I did a podcast for like one time and then I stopped. And it was just back and forth. And I don't know. I saw your advertisement on the Divine Feminine Network and I went looking at your website and I was like, oh, she actually seems real and genuine. You don't act, you didn't act like you were above anyone, or I wouldn't feel like I was stupid asking questions because
Uh-huh.
this is a very vulnerable thing to do. And so you have to be really comfortable. So the strategy session with you was like my fire. It lit the fire back up. It really, I think, inspired not just the podcast, but my business on the side. It got me a little bit more excited. So for anyone out there, that strategy session is wonderful. I am with you in the membership. And I absolutely love that because you're always here helping me. Now, eventually I will move up more. Um, and I really do probably need to edit, but I also love, like we talked about before, how to be natural. And some people It's depends upon what you're doing. As you all know, I teach college, and it's just kind of how I talk to people. But some things need to be a little bit more polished, and it just depends upon what it is. And I just feel like you've got the best of all of it. Like you connect with people so energetically and so spiritually on what they do, and you make everything seem so exciting. Your energy is just all the time. I mean, I could say something just very simple, a statement, and you're like, oh yeah, and da da da. So, I just really appreciate that about you. And I am one who rarely gets excited about things. So when I do get excited, that means a lot. So, um,
Thank
but
you.
so for everyone out there, please check her out. Where's your website at? Can you tell us what it is? And I'll put it in the show
Yeah.
notes.
Yeah. So actually, you know what? I'm going to give you the easy one because it's a redirect. Just go to kimparkinson.com. So that's KIMPARKINSON.com. You'll be redirected to KP Creative Media, but Kim Parkinson, because it's so much easier, is fine. Yeah, my Boston just came out, didn't it? I
I
heard it.
loved it. I loved it. Yeah. Yeah. And that's another thing. People's accents, I'm from Kentucky. You're from Boston. How much do you think we really need to change our accents when we're talking? Or just be real?
Just be real, be
That's what
yourself,
I
because
think
you know what?
too.
That's how you're going to be with your client. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna talk differently every single moment of my day. I'm not a paid actor or actress or whatever you want to call me. I am just Kim. And
Yeah.
honestly, that is exactly what I've been known my entire life because my name's not Kimberly. It's just Kim. So people have called
Oh,
me just Kim for
just
a
kidding.
very long time.
I
So
love that.
yeah, and
Wow.
that's just I just like to be me. I just love people. I love to help people. I have a degree in hospitality management, so that gives you a little bit more about
Oh,
how
wow.
I treat people, how I act. I've gotten years of retail. So
Oh.
you know I've dealt with some people.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And
That's the hardest job I think anyone can do is retail or
yeah,
service of any kind. It's
yeah,
hard.
yeah.
So,
It is. But you know what? I'm here for it. And I just really want everyone to get their voices out there and get them their stories told because otherwise, you know, what's going to happen to all those fabulous stories when you're gone?
I know.
Nobody's going
I
to hear
know.
them.
There,
So,
I know, and it's so sad. I wish I'd taken advantage of recording things when my grandparents were here. And I try to think, I have all the little pictures and I try to write all the little notes and everything. But yeah, this is a perfect way of keeping up with culture and family. I never thought about that. We need podcasts for family and society and anthropology. And I'm on a whole new tangent now. You just got me going that
yeah.
direction, but I love it. It is true.
Yeah.
So I have some fun questions to ask you.
Yay.
Um, What's your favorite divination tool? Pendulum, tarot, oracle, what?
Oracle. I pull one every beginning of the week. As a matter of fact, so this was the beginning of today was the beginning of my week, and the one I pulled today, you are about to shine. Isn't that
Ah,
cool? So
what
this
deck is
was
that?
the Animal Apothecary
Ooh,
by Cara Elizabeth. And
okay.
I know that you're not video, but if you were video, you would see all the Oracle decks that I have behind me, all
Yep.
there. So I have a ton of them. I don't know, maybe 50 decks, maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
I couldn't count. But I have been journaling on a consistent basis, been
Ooh.
pulling a tarot card and then just saying what I think that tarot card represents. So, and then kind of diving into that. So, kind of doing a little bit more of that. But that's, yeah,
Yeah,
Oracle cards are for me, for sure.
that's what I like to. I always tell people throw the book away. That is the author's message and find your
Yeah,
own message like you did.
yeah,
I
yeah.
see Rebecca Campbell behind you.
Yep.
I
I got
see.
a whole
Yeah, I'm
bunch.
recognizing quite a few of them.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Actually, I'm thinking there's one that I have over here that you have, but I'm not placing the name, but I know the color and the shape. That is awesome. It is really fun to create or to just create stories with Oracle cards as well.
Yeah.
So I guess we are all kind of storytellers. I never thought about that. Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, is there anything else that you want to share before we close?
I think that you have been doing an amazing job of getting your voice out there. And I am just super proud of all of the hard work that you've been putting in and the interviews that you've done. I just listened today to your Akashic Records one, and you had such a great conversation with her about what it wasn't originally and then moved into. So you did
Yeah.
an excellent job. And I just really want to see you shine and see people have more people hear you and hear your message because you're a beautiful person inside and out. And I think you have a message that needs to be shouted from the rooftops. So,
Well, thank you. And everyone, that's what I mean. She is so inspiring and she has me just kind of little teary-eyed. So,
wow,
but yeah, thank you, Kim. I appreciate
you're
it.
welcome. Of
And
course.
for everyone listening out there, I will have all the information down in the show notes. But for now, thank you for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful evening.